Greetings, everybody. I'm Barron William Trump, first boy to USA President Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania K. Trump. I am also Aaren William Striplin and John Edgar Hoover. I am the plaintiff in United States Supreme Court versus defendant D.C. Mayor Muriel. The case is filed under slavery, and the relief sought is $100,000, $60,000 from 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, $10,000 provided by the financial department of the Racketeer Influence Club Organized Crime Act in the form of a ransom. That was reported, and there was never anything followed up by the DC mayor. And then $40,000 on the ledger from the armed robberies. So $60,000 of the $100,000 is owed, and then $40,000 because of several armed robberies of 9 of the 10 FBI evidence lockers, as all of the evidence and exhibits went to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office regarding the investigation. So there's also a pardon and an exoneration process for the relief sought. There's also a checking of the cameras, running back the video and audio on the eye cameras. Also reviewing the physical evidence in the FBI evidence locker number 25 to see if it meets the requirement for a grand jury indictment on Mike Livingston, the pedophile who kidnapped me from limited liability company to a real estate timeshare. He held me hostage as a slave, torturing me for ransom and escorting me to the dumping site locations to benefit off of my life expectancy. So there may be enough evidence and exhibits for a grand jury indictment and an arrest. So that's a part of the relief sought. And then also to be safe and secure, my papers, causes in effect, and to move all of my documents from my birth state, born and raised state, California, to Washington, D.C. So this is the relief sought. And the reason why I filed it on her is because she didn't treat me fair. And I know a lot of people out there appreciate the D.C. mayor, and I appreciate the D.C. mayor too. I'm still looking for the D.C. mayor. But I had to file because she was a part of the getaway vehicle. And it's unfortunate because nobody's leaving the crime scene. And so Mike Livingston was able to transfer his accounts across federal regulated state lines to Washington, D.C. But according to the U.S. Constitution, I have a right to confront all of my accusers, and also for a redress of grievances, and to be free from servitude slavery. And none of that happened. He was operating illegally with a bunch of thugs. They were kidnapping me. They were not allowing me to use my documents here. And I'm a United States citizen, even though I'm a Jew. And I have a right to live on the land. I'm also a United States citizen. And every deal that has been made regarding me is a legal deal. All sales were final. Everything, has been arranged appropriately for me to be in the United States. I'm a United States citizen. I'm not from nowhere else. And so she was very similar to one of the ransomers, fee managers, field operatives, ransom collectors, ransom forgers, ransom beneficiaries accounts. And she was only a face, and she asked me with this face and the people that was hired by her to provide a U.S. military tour, they depicted me as a foreigner from a different country. And then she tried to use a couple of business licenses from her thugs in order to depict me as a drone from a different country instead of a robot human service provider. A Plessy Ferguson U.S. Supreme Court ruling and a Brown versus School Board U.S. Supreme Court ruling and a U.S. Supreme Court ruling by the USA President Abraham Lincoln. So I was murdered and resuscitated back to life. It was a closed-circuit television network movie by the name of Tupac Shakur, and it was also a closed-circuit television network movie by the name of Michael Jackson. And so the robotic medical advancements allowed me to live and recover my memory. And so with the eye camera, I'm running back the video and audio from my memory that's recollected regarding the chains of events. But you know, and the physical evidence will support exactly what's on the video and audio for the grand jury indictment. And and she just thought that she was just gonna get DC Health, CCNV Federal City, 801 Shelter, Adams Place Shelter, Adams Place Catholic Charity, Martin Luther King Jr. Library, DC Public Library Northwest Branch, McDonald's, Subway, District Rico, a Qdoba Mexican Eats, Central Union Mission, Social Security Administration on M Street, turning to the Social Security Administration on D Street, CPEP Hospital, turning from DC General Hospital and Metro Hospital, Metro PCS by T-Mobile, Metro PCS by T-Mobile, and T-Mobile, and Boost Mobile, and a couple of other locations. And they thought that they were going to kill me. They thought that they were going to deny me my United States citizenship. And then she hired the Metropolitan Police Department, who, as I was shopping in Walmart, just mugged me for absolutely no reason. Zero reason to be mugged at all, as they transferred the accounts from the ransom, the court filing ransom, in their names. And that happened at DC courts, and then the federal courts, the U.S. district courts on Constitution Avenue, and then the U.S. Courts of Appeals. So that's where she was hustling at. But each one of the people that she hired, I filed charges on them. I filed the Racketeer Influence Corp Organized Crime Act charges on them individually. And when I couldn't file the police report, I did a commitment report at the police station of M Street District, of First District, I think it's on M Street. And then I went and I contacted the internal affairs regarding the police that she hired. And then I locked them into their positions at the courts because I had no choice during the federal investigation in order to remember, because they were armed robbing the FBI evidence lockers. And we're up to 25 of them now. And so that's it. And now I had to file charges on her for slavery, because that's exactly what it was. She thought that she was gonna murder me in Livingston's 5-story home on the 4th story of his home, which is the closed circuit television network, in the Michael Jackson movie, where they distorted my blood. So I'm a human because I have human blood. You know what I'm saying? And so they distorted my blood in 2013 at the Jackson Memorial Hospital on the 5th floor, and they put mercury in it so they can try to say that I'm not a human or whatever, and that's it. So before she slipped out of office, before she had an opportunity to resign, and before everybody in America thought that she was such an awesome person, with my loss, first boy Barron Trump, in the rumors of me having AIDS and all of this type of stuff that you may see online, we're still confirming it. And we reached out to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. I filed charges on the FBI for not getting involved in the investigation. And you can look at the complaint yourself. We were asking Robert Mueller to provide a medical a practicing examination to confirm or deny that. But we do know that the blood was tainted. So that was her whole little thing. She was gonna try to get me to do a U.S. military tour by the name of the ransomers, fee managers, field operatives, ransom collectors, ransom forgers, with their similarities to the ransom account. hired the thugs to deny my access to the services in Washington, D.C. And Kamala D. Harris, she's a senator. Before that, she was a state attorney. And she approved me. And been a United States citizen. And I'm supposed to be safe and secure in my papers, causes, and effect. And she didn't allow me to sit. She was such a cruel person to me that no matter what she did in Washington, D.C., it absolutely means nothing because of this. And she's not even telling you that I delivered on the little tour that she was doing in order to continue to get all of the evidence and exhibits to the FBI. But that was her whole scam. She wanted to try to stipulate that the actual Racketeer Influence Corp Organized Crime Act, enacted in 1975, which gives Congress and law enforcement and victims and citizens the opportunity to file charges on businesses who create rackets to rotate their victims in and break state laws, federal laws, district laws, and U.S. Constitution amendments. And so that's exactly what happened. And that's where we're at. And so basically her whole little thing was to try to stipulate that the actual crime scene reconstruction and the trajectory reconstruction and the identification on Mike Livingston and the racket that he ran was Arctic training to the U.S. military. She was trying to get me to do a tour in Japan and Australia and Jamaica and Italy and Germany and Russia and in Canada, and only so that she can try to then stipulate that it wasn't a tour, only rob me for the FBI evidence lockers and all of the evidence that supports slavery, such as the home valuables that was taken in forced slavery by Mike Livingston, impersonating the Contra Costa County Martinez Sheriff Department with a Martinez City Hall business license, and impersonating the sheriff with the Contra Costa County Martinez Sheriff Office with a business license from the Secretary of State Office in Sacramento, California, and becoming a slave master with just a limited liability company and a partnership corporation with a real estate timeshare for a commercial building. And that's all that it was. And so once she took the evidence and exhibits by trying to say that it was a part of Arctic training, then she's turned her focus on me actually being from these other countries and hired a bunch of street thugs on a 24-hour watch, subcontractors, to block the entranceway to getting something to eat, so she can try to distort the case. And then she was gonna then go and take me to her hospitals, and they're kidnapping me for all of this, to take me to their hospitals and then to try to say that my mobility device, the scientific research that we have in the United States of America, which allowed me to live, and my United States citizenship as I'm a 38-year-old man, she's now going to murder me and decapitate me. And so she set up this whole little scam with ABC Studios, the cast members of Alias, and they were gonna try to murder me and decapitate me for my heart and for my eyes, and I'm just a cameraman, but I don't even take photos. Like I mind my own business, I do my own, but I have a right to live on the land, you feel me? And she's just a very sick person for that, you know what I mean? But aside from her sickness, I just wanted to report that she has been doing whatever she's been doing for DC, but I've been doing a lot for the United States of America. Let me just go through some of the things that I'm doing for the entire body of the United States of America. So there's 160 citizens and about 160 residents and tourists that travel, making America a super country of over 300 million people, according to some statistics. So I'm working on the religion reform policy, medical reform policy, economy reform policy, trade reform policy, business reform policy, industry reform policy, education reform policy, entertainment reform policy, telecommunications reform policy, corrections reform policy, safety reform policy, and infrastructure reform policy. I'm setting up $400 billion deal in 200 countries, learning 200 languages, and becoming the head of body of 200 countries for the United States of America. I also am the forefather of forensics, DNA phase 2, and the helix phase 2, and I get no credit for this. And it's just very sick that she's going around talking stuff about me, a John Edgar Hoover FBI building graduate with a degree in criminal justice, by reporting this racketeer influence corp organized crime act to them and learning my education that way, as I was injected into the case by being kidnapped by the Contra Costa County Martinez Sheriff Office, impersonator of a sheriff, slave master, and held hostage in his 5-story home of commercial real estate, residential real estate, agricultural real estate, closed circuit television network real estate, and racketeer influence corp organized crime act department real estate timeshare holdings. And then that's it. So, you know, I'm waiting on my DC mayor too, but she's just not slipping out of office with my loss. So I filed charges on her for murder. She's a murder suspect. I'm gonna be questioning her. And aside from doing everything for the United States of America by way of the White House and graduating from the John Edgar Hoover FBI building with my 5th degree in criminal justice, I have a degree in religion, a degree in entertainment, a degree in business. I have a degree in education, and I have a degree in criminal justice. I just wanted to let you guys know that this is not about what I'm doing for the United States of America and what she's doing for the District of Columbia. This is about slavery and the thugs that approach me trying to murder and decapitate me right here for my little mobility device. Could you imagine all of the people that are in wheelchairs across America, all of the people that you see with amputation legs across America, and, you know, just with the blood that makes them human, be it murdered by people like this, or slavery still existing, and the only thing you need is a timeshare and a limited liability company? Or could you imagine a world of somebody that's gonna fight for themselves the entire time, never giving up, and in the process correcting a broken system? Okay, so now we're all the way at the U.S. Supreme Court and it's going down. So stay tuned, it's getting interesting. I just got into Air Force One. So if you go to you'll see the Air Force One there, and I'm getting ready to be flying to Israel to make a deal with Rivlin, a $4 billion United States dollar deal, which is 7 billion new shekels. That's what I'm doing right now, and then I'm also in the presence of doing the U.S. Supreme Court ruling investigation with real forensics. So I'm going to be uploading some of the evidence and exhibits that we have on the Racketeer Influence Corp Organized Crime Act, because I know people watch United States Supreme Court, and this is my U.S. Supreme Court ruling. And slavery has already been abolished, but I just didn't want her to slip out of office. Maybe the FBI can do a follow-up investigation later. Maybe the president can do a follow-up investigation later. But I do think that she's a nasty person for trying to murder me for a mobility device and try to dangle an ignorant victim for a camera. It just doesn't make sense. And then trying to call an African-American man a slave, and trying to say that Jews and Christians don't have a right to be on earth, when it clearly stipulates in the Bible that we do, in the Torah that we do, this is an in God we trust country. And on top of that, it says in the very first amendment, we have a right to assemble in the same geographical location and petition the government for redress of grievances. And so because I came forward with my redress and grievances, and I said, this guy kidnapped me, he held me hostage, he tortured me during the accounts, I have all of the evidence and exhibits to support it and witnesses, and I've even reconstructed the valuables that he took. She comes forward and try to go way out into left field and murder me by stipulating that I was in a training program all of a sudden. And then after the training program, all of a sudden, I can't come forward with the evidence on him because it belongs to the military. And then all of a sudden, I'm from a different country instead of the United States my whole life. This lady's just completely crazy. Okay, that's completely crazy. So that I just wanted to bring everybody back down to reality, because now we're addressing this. She's not going to slip out of office with my loss. If there is HIV or hepatitis or tainted blood, we are going to address that, because I cannot bear false witness. But to my knowledge, and it's been confirmed, that I do not have any of that stuff like that. But there's also a medical department, a mental health department, and they're trying to do the murder and get away with it. So we just really have to get the actual DC mayor here, and not DC Mayor Muriel Bowser. She's a very nasty person for what she did for the stolen valor from the actual United States military, by taking from admirals and people who really do Arctic training and forcing me to do a ransom in order to turn in evidence and exhibits so that pedophile Mike Livingston can operate in Washington, D.C. I think she's a pedophile for supporting that pedophile, and the way she choked me and she enslaved me herself and tried to murder and decapitate me for a camera and for a mobility device is a disgrace to Homer Plessy Ferguson, U.S. Supreme Court rulings, and Brown School Board. The little girl went to school in Topeka, Kansas, and Abraham Lincoln, who stipulated that there was not going to be any more slaves anymore. So stay tuned. This is modern day slavery, and your first boy is fighting this. I'm also doing the First Amendment, redress of grievances, and I'm also doing the reform policies. It's going to be a $4 billion royalty tech. We're going to be in 200 countries. That's every country on the planet, tilling the land like God said. And you're going to see all of this step by step. So it's going to get interesting. I'm going to start posting up the U.S. Supreme Court ruling exhibits. I'm going to start with the one that I have right now. It's the styling department of the Racketeer Influence Corp Organized Crime Act, which got the uniforms together that allowed her to do her scam. And then the closed circuit television network department that allowed her to do her little murder decapitation plot. So, thank you.